Attorney General, in the last 72 hours, senior officials at the Department of Justice and the FBI have issued warnings about the possibility of Iran or its supporters retaliating on American soil. I'm concerned that by these threats, particularly to Jewish communities and facilities. I appreciate that the department is taking this seriously, and the FBI appears to be taking these threats. Particularly, I'm concerned after one of our own state citizens, Kansan Sarah Milgram, was murdered by an anti-Israel activist here in Washington, D.C. My question is, General Bondi, is I recognize that a full assessment of these threats is probably better in a classified setting, but would you describe for the committee today, can you tell us what you can about specific actions the FBI and the DOJ law enforcement components are taking to mitigate these threats?
Thank you, Senator Moran. And I spoke with Sarah's family in Kansas.
Thank you.
I also spoke with the young man's family in Israel. I went to the scene of that crime, as I've done countless times as a homicide prosecutor in my career. I never dreamed that I would do that again. And it was truly horrific. They were simply leaving an event, as you well know, at a museum. And Ambassador Leiter actually told me that night that it's come out since publicly that he had a ring and was planning on proposing to her the following week in Israel. It was horrific. Not only that, what happened at Governor Shapiro's house in Pennsylvania was absolutely disgusting. I've spoken to Governor Shapiro multiple times, and that person will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. That was a hate crime. I believe it was done during Shabbat. To terrorize Governor Shapiro, pending criminal case, so I don't want to get into it too much, but I think that's been public information. Also, what happened in Boulder, Colorado, what happened at a Holocaust survivor, a woman who survived the Holocaust was hit by a firebomb with someone simply because she's Jewish, and many others were injured. Also, there's a cafe in this country called Jerusalem Cafe. My civil rights division is all over that. They will not serve you if you have a Jewish star. They have coffees and teas with despicable names that are anti-Semitic. My civil rights division is going after them with full force. So not only from a civil rights perspective, but from a national security perspective. My national security division, one of my top lawyers is sitting behind me here today. We are all over these cases, working hand in hand with FBI, with Homeland Security. All of our agencies are working so well together to try to combat this throughout our country. And without getting into detail in this setting, Iran, of course, is a threat. They have been a threat, and they always will be a threat to our country. And we are working hand in hand with all of our agencies to protect Americans and to keep us safe. We have a 24/7 command center at the FBI set up for situations just like you described, Senator.
Thank you for your vehement response about the importance of protecting all Americans, and particularly those who are singled out because of their heritage or religion. There are a number of grant programs at DOJ that might be valuable. The precipitous increase in crime program is available to surge resources under the Burn Justice Assistant Grant Program. And I'm looking at ways that we can help further protect synagogues and other religious places in our country from this kind of terror and violence. Let me switch topics, although not unrelated. I've taken a particular interest in trying to make sure that judges, the federal court of our country is protected. And we've seen too many circumstances in which a judge or a judge's family has been harmed. The United States Marshal Service plays a critical role in ensuring that federal judges and their families are safe and secure. In this context of this elevated threat environment that there's evidence of, I'm pleased that the budget is proposing an increase of $30 million in marshal salaries and expense account. That increase, however, is dedicated to the proposal to migrate Interpol Washington into the Marshal Service. General Bondi, would you support additional resources for the marshals to ensure that they can execute their judicial security responsibilities?
Yes, and to back up a minute, when you said about protecting our Jewish friends throughout the country, we are also protecting mosque. We are protecting all religions throughout our country. I just didn't want
And I appreciate you making
to miss
the
that point,
clarification, and
but-
we wouldn't signal out any particular religious individuals or institutions. We want all Americans to be safe and secure.
Yes, Senator. And Todd Blanche, my Deputy Attorney General, has a meeting set with the Sergeant of Arms here to be sure that all of you are protected as well as our judges. Our new U.S. Marshal, his name is Gadi Serralta, and he is remarkable. He is a Floridian, so I'm a little biased. He's from Miami, and he has been a long-standing U.S. Marshal, and he is going to do everything in his power to keep all of our judges safe, and we'll work hand in hand with all of you on that. But this has nothing to do with political party. This has to do with keeping Americans safe, keeping our lawmakers safe, keeping our judges safe, where our judges feel like they can go home at night and be safe and not have to worry, and all of our governors and all of the lawmakers in Minnesota throughout this country. I spoke to Keith Ellison after Minnesota. I spoke to Senator Klobuchar after Minnesota. And in that case, our U.S. attorney on the ground there is working hand in hand with the district attorney. That's what I've done my entire career, and that's what they will continue to do. The federal, state, and local authorities will work hand in hand. Our budget includes $190 million, Senator, for judicial security, including 303 deputy U.S. Marshals.
I'm pleased to hear that you're aware and supportive of those efforts. I would highlight for you that under the Daniel Andrew Act, we are working to have the personal information of judges removed from the internet, from public circumstances, including the addresses and names of their children. Senate Bill FY 25, our Senate bill funded that program at $10 million, and I'm hopeful this subcommittee and the Department of Justice can continue to find ways to support that effort to further protect our judges and their families.
Senator, not only our judges, but all of you as well need to be protected in the world in which we live.
Thank you.